Welcome back to this last edition of the Navy Supply Corps. It's your career series. It's your detail. Hey, my name is Jared H. Smith, and I am back with you again to bring you the last in the six-part series of the It's Your Career playbooks on audio version. And this last playbook, the It's Your Detail, was published in 2014, and my guess is it will be updated again soon. But we're going to be talking about your detailing experience. And I saved it for last because I wanted to get into the It's Your Experience and It's Your Education playbooks before going into how the actual detailing assignment process goes. But today, that's what we're going to do. Purpose. The purpose of this playbook is to assist you in understanding the detailing process and procedures. Officer details originate from the Office of Supply Corps Personnel, NAVSUP-OP, located in Millington, Tennessee at Navy Personnel Command. Understanding the Navy's General Permanent Change of Station, PCS, regulations and the Supply Corps community's career timeline will help you as you plan your career or provide guidance for others. Refer to the It's Your Career series playbooks to help build your career in the Supply Corps. The detailing process overview. Detailing consists of carefully balancing three critical elements: personal or Armed Forces family desires, individual career development, and the Navy's mission. These elements are commonly referred to as the detailing triad. And there's a triangle here that they've got as a graphic with the career needs on the right leg, your desires on the left leg, and notably needs of the Navy as the base. How am I detailed? Captains, the Chief of Supply Corps is your detailer based on calendar year. Commanders, gaining command plays significant role based on calendar year. Lieutenant Commander, NAVSUP-OP details, courtesy copy of officer data card to commands, based on projected rotation date PRD, minus 30 days or plus 90 days. Lieutenant and below, based on projected rotation date, minus 30 days or plus 90 days. The detailing process begins by identifying a requirement, usually caused by a projected transfer of an incumbent or the establishment of a new billet. Detailers try to fill this requirement with an officer who has a PRD near the required fill date. Communication is the primary catalyst for an effective detail. Communicating your preferences and goals early in the process to the detailer is critical. Please feel free to call or email your detailer at any time to discuss career progression questions and let him or her know your preferences for the next assignment. And there's a directory at the end of this playbook as well as a link in this playbook for the supply officer detailer's point of contact information. Negotiating your orders, the top of page 2. For 04 and below detailing, all 04 and below detailing is done in the pit by 5 detailers. Each detailer is assigned the responsibility of a specific pay grade and billet type, such as operational or overseas, shore, full-time support or GWAT support assignment, FTS/GSA, to detail. They work closely together as each detail tends to affect what is being worked at another desk. The following detailing windows apply for 03 and below. CONUS or Continental U.S., 8 months out from the PRD date. Overseas, 10 months. It's also called OCONUS for overseas, 10 months, once on station for 12-month unaccompanied orders. And for global support assignment, as soon as GSA orders are accepted. They give a table of detailing windows by month example here for CONUS. For example, a PRD in January, you'd enter the window the previous May. For a CONUS August PRD date, you enter the detailing window in December. So again, 8 months between those PRD month and interwindow month. For OCONUS, it's 10 months. For example, a PRD in January means you'd have a March window for negotiating orders. And for a November OCONUS PRD, you'd get to start talking to the detailer in January the previous year. The following detail window applies for 04 Lieutenant Commanders. CONUS GSA overseas are 12 months prior to the projected rotation date. For 05 detailing, Commanders detailing is managed by the Director, Detailing Division, OP1, and the Assistant, OP1 Alpha. Detailing is handled by calendar year and not by PRD. Once a year, usually in late spring and typically it's in May, a list of available billets for the following year is emailed to commanders with planned rotations the following year. Each prospective command plays a significant role in the detailing process through its review and selection of proposed officers. And I'll also caveat that with the fact that they want to know well ahead of releasing that May list if a Commander 05 pay grade is retiring the following year, so they can account for that billet being vacant and for that officer not being in the pool of officers. So it's important that if you're a senior 04 moving into those 05 ranks, that you're thinking about that ahead of time too. 06 detailing. Captain detailing is managed for the Chief of Supply Corps by the Director, Supply Corps Personnel, OP, and the Assistant, OP Alpha. Detailing is handled by calendar year and not by projected rotation date. Once a year, usually in spring, a list of available billets for the following year is emailed to captains with planned rotations the following year. The Chief of Supply Corps will make final detailing decisions for captains. Tour links and general timeline. Milpers Man 1301-110, Officer Distribution, prescribed sea tour and recommended shore tour links, outlines policy regarding tour links. And this is especially important for those that are approaching the retirement period, because you could take a billet that extends you past your minimum length of service, so you want to be smart about this. Overseas tour links. Milpers Man 1300-308 and JFTR/JTR Q1-1 tour links and types provide guidance on overseas duty. Same thing with this one, especially because there's minimum time on station requirements for overseas assignments, and you want to be aware of that as you enter your lieutenant commander rank and get ready to go for 05. Additional pertinent information concerning assignments and overseas duty is available in Milpers Man 1300-assignments. PRD adjustments. Milpers Man 1301-104 governs officer detailing as related to tour links and rotations. PRD adjustment requests of less than 30 days to the left or 90 days to the right do not require formal letter of request. PRD adjustments requests of greater than 30 days to the left or 90 days to the right require a letter from the officer stating reason for PRD adjustment, accompanied with an endorsement from the officer's command. Sample letter can be found on the Supply Corps Career Counselor website. GSA and IA assignments. Again, that's Global Support Assignments and Individual Augmentees. GSA is the term for a negotiated PCS tour in support of Overseas Contingency Operations, OCO, that meet existing Joint Manning Document JMD requests for forces, RFF, or other OCO demand signals. Again, that's Overseas Contingency Operations, OCO. The goal is to mainstream individual augmentation, IA, assignments, RIP to fill, with existing detailing practices to increase predictability, stability, and notification. Any officer is eligible if they choose to volunteer. The general GSA-IA business rules are as follows. All officers must go through GSA detailer with the following exceptions. Those who completed a 6-month deployment within 6 months of PRD, those completing a DoD-mandated unaccompanied tour, those en route to a required milestone, internship, or flag aid executive assistant role, and lastly, those who completed an IA in the last 24 months. Post-GSA IA dwell. NAVADMIN 333/10 outlines GSA rules governing GSA orders to include dwell time between these types of assignments. Bundling of orders, 04 and below. Orders may be bundled for GSA assignments only, not IA assignments. Bundled orders are negotiated follow-on assignments upon completion of GSA. The officer can see and accept future available assignments at time of taking GSA orders. And a quick side note here, I actually got to my carrier tour at George H.W. Bush, frankly, because of my global support assignment to Afghanistan. I was able to negotiate a follow-on tour on a carrier because I took a GSA to the sandbox. So keep that in mind for you young lieutenants out there wanting to get to the premium assignments. When will I get my orders? Generally, the goal is to provide written orders 4 to 6 months prior to detachment of the individual. This timeline may be constrained by annual PCS funding levels or other factors. Commander, Navy Personnel Command, NPC, has ultimate release authority on all permanent change of station orders. Once orders are released, they can be viewed via the NSIP's self-service page. And a caveat for those that are entering that retirement window, you can expect not to receive your retirement orders until about 6 months in advance of your retirement date, and therefore that can put some anxiety with you with respect to planning that very dynamic time during your late stages of your career. So just be forewarned. And if you get to go on the DoD Skill Bridge program, then you can also request orders be released early. But that's a whole process in itself. If you're interested in that, reach out to me and we'll talk about it. How the orders process works. The orders release process requires various actions within the Navy Personnel Command from the time orders are proposed, propped in the Officer Assignment Information System, OAIS, to the time they are released to the service member. All orders start with the originating detailer. Common to all orders are the approvals from the Gaining and Losing Command's placement officer. Placement officers' concerns centered around the needs of the command and not the needs and desires career progression of the service member. Detailers primarily concern themselves with the needs, desires, career progression of the service member. In short, placement is responsible for billets and detailers are responsible for people. All orders will also have a quality assurance review by the costing branch and ultimately be released by a separate branch that handles the funding of orders, which is dictated by PCS funding levels. Orders are released only after they have received funding via line of accounting, LOA. Other reviews and actions that may be required depending on the type of orders being executed include acquisition, PERS 447, joint, PERS 45J, subspecialty, PERS 45E, exceptional family member, EFM, physical fitness assessment, PFA, and special interest items. Separations. Release from active duty, RAD, requests must be submitted 9 to 12 months in advance of separation. MilPERS Man 1920-200 outlines officer resignation procedures. Separation orders are processed by PERS 834F at telephone number 901-874-2095. Real quick note on this. Separations for two-time failure of selection means that you're processed 7 months to the day after notification of second failure of selection. For officer retirements, you've got to notify your chain of command and really BUPERS that you intend to retire well ahead of a year out from that date. Then once you do, you're unable to submit your actual request for retirement until that 12-month mark before your retirement date. So there's a lot to learn here. I've documented my journey through this process as I was completing my naval career after 20 years in the winter of 2021 and 2022 and into the spring and summer. And I'll be packaging all that knowledge up for the community in the months ahead. Selected reserves, SELRES opportunities. Incentives for affiliating with the Navy Reserve include veterans who affiliate with the Navy Reserve within 6 months of release from active duty qualify for a 2-year deferment from involuntary mobilization. Personnel who affiliate between 7 and 12 months qualify for a 1-year deferment. After the deferment period, you will be considered for mobilization. A recent benefit added is that drilling reservists, SELRES, now can obtain medical coverage through TRICARE Reserve Select. Please go to the Stay Navy website, which will give you more information on opportunities and benefits of serving in the reserves and how to leverage your active duty time you have already served. If you have any questions on the reserves or what types of Supply Corps community opportunities are in the reserves, feel free to contact the Reserve Component Program Manager at 901-874-4621. Officers interested in the full-time support FTS community must apply through a redesignation board that meets twice a year in the spring and fall. There's a hyperlink on page 6 for a one-stop shop for redesignated into the full-time support community, such as instructions, sample package, frequency questions, etc. Retirements. MilPERS Man 1810-020 and OpNav Instruction 1811.3 Alpha spell out voluntary retirement to include time and grade requirements. And that's all that this Playbook says, and I can tell you there is much, much, much more to it than this one sentence and those two instructions spell out. Retirement processing is no joke. You're highly encouraged not to go it alone. Like I previously mentioned, I have documented this process in painstaking detail and created a lot of content around it. But the fact of the matter is every single person's situation is different. Experts can help you go faster, but intentional, early, informed planning, as soon as you know you're going to retire from service, is best, and that's what I encourage. So reach out to me for more information. And finally, there is a Supply Corps career progression chart that they give here on page 7, and it's all about the milestones and different AQDs and subspecs and tour links and education. It kind of sums it all up together in this nice little graphic that I encourage you to take a look at. And that's a wrap for the It's Your Career series of playbooks. I hope that you found it insightful. Like I said, this last playbook, the It's Your Detail, was last published about 8 years ago, May of 2014, and I expect an update at some point in 2022. Once that update's out, we'll come back and re-record it so that we're up to date. But I thank you for joining me on this journey, and reach out and let me know what you think. How can we improve it? We're building this community together, and I wish you fair winds and following seas to your career and to your liberty. Heck yeah.